Hello and welcome back. Today we're doing a video all about the great Snowmageddon of 2021. Hey folks, my name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here you'll find videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. And today, you guys, oh my gosh, so much snow. Okay, so first of all, friends of mine who live up north, I know you're like kind of laughing at this, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 inches of snow that is outside of my house right now. But I need to tell you that it has not snowed here in 6 years. And the last time that it snowed, it maybe lasted like a day and then it melted. Prior to that, like it's been like a good 10 years since I can remember that there's been a big winter event like this. Because this is also really drawn on. This hasn't just been for like a day. This has been for several days now. And it's been pretty ugly out there too. A lot of my friends have had their power out for, you know, most of the night last night and most of yesterday, and it may come back on for like an hour, but then it'll go back off again. We, thank God, have been very lucky here and we have not lost power yet. But they are going to start doing rolling blackouts, so I am anticipating and preparing for losing power for a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, I don't know, who knows, at a time, at some random point in time. I don't know. We might not lose power at all. We might lose power for the rest of the week. Who knows? It has been really beautiful though to see the community really pull together, people offering their homes when they have electricity to those who don't, people making sure that people are taken care of with everything going on. Of course, then we also have the added fun of COVID mixed into this. I have some friends without power. I invited them over to stay with us and warm up and charge their phones, things like that. But they've got COVID in their house, so they can't come over. So yeah, they're kind of stuck literally in their car to charge their phones and try to keep warm. Fun times. We've been holding up here pretty well. Like I said, we have power, thank God, but we've been having some plumbing issues. So whatever pipes refill our toilets have frozen, so that's not working, but we are still able to flush. And thank God, we're just having to manually refill the toilets every time. And the washing machine for our clothing, like that's frozen, so that's not working. But the dishwasher's still working, all the sinks are still working, the bathtubs, the showers, things like that. So overall, I'm saying we're doing pretty darn good. But I wouldn't mind if it warmed up. I'm a little nervous about the pipe situation. But anyhow, gonna bring you guys along today as we have a snow day. All right, let's go do this. Let's go this way.
This is the snow sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are walking on the freest lawn.
Yeah, well, it's fun to walk.
Is it thick?
It's pretty thick looking. I mean, you can't walk on it or anything, but
Because they're gonna slip away.
it's really pretty though, isn't it?
Can I put snow down there?
Nah.
I will use snow
Okay.
It's getting less steep.
So my son and I are going for a little winter walk. It's about 9 degrees outside and it's chilly. It is really, really gorgeous though. And it's really fun to experience this because like I said, it doesn't do this very often. You having fun, kiddo?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And it's just fun to hear our feet crunch in the snow. I've always really liked that. Yeah?
I love you a lot.
I love you too. So I checked the weather forecast and it's supposed to snow again tonight. So we're not about to see any relief from this little winter wonderland we are experiencing here right now. In the meantime, we are definitely going to continue enjoying this. Going for these walks every day is super fun. And, you know, just lots of hot chocolate and being warm and
Hot chocolate when we get home.
definitely hot chocolate when we get home.
Because it'll be very cold.
Definitely.
We'll get these cold.
It's a very powdery snow. We tried to build a snowman when we first came out and yeah, all we could do was a blob. It didn't really work. So maybe when it starts to melt a little bit, we'll have a little bit of a wetter snow, a little bit less powdery to build a snowman. After we got home, I went ahead and started making some hot chocolate for the kids. And hey, if you guys are enjoying this video, please hit that like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I really appreciate it, and I just love seeing you guys come back. Okay, so we are back inside now. Hot cocoa has been drunk and we are all warmed up. And now I'm feeling quite inspired to get started on dinner. Okay, so about a week or so ago, I don't know, it's all a blur these days, but about a week or so ago, I made a spaghetti bolognese that I saw on a blog, and it was so delicious. I made a few adaptations so that it would be kosher, and I'm gonna take you guys along, show you what I did compared to the actual recipe that I found online, and we'll make some bolognese together. Okay, so I have my recipe here on the phone. I will link to it in the description box below, and then I have got all of my ingredients set out here on the counter. The first thing that I did was chop one onion. Once I had that onion all chopped up, I went ahead and put it into the big pan that I was going to be cooking all of the sauce in, and then I added some Smart Balance, which is basically non-dairy butter, and melted the butter and sauteed the onions. My daughter came to help me with the next part. We added 2 jars of cooked ground beef. So this was about 3 pounds cooked meat. So I don't know what that would be uncooked, but it was for us 3 pounds cooked. If you are using fresh ground beef, then you're going to want to go ahead and brown that meat at this point. Ours is already fully cooked, so we are going to move on to the next step. For the next step, we added an entire bottle of white wine. Okay, so now that needs to simmer for about 20 minutes. So I'm in here in my study now. I'm gonna do a little school with my son while we're killing the time. My son opted to start with geology, so we went through a book on kind of some geology basics. What is geology, different kinds of rocks, and of course, while this was going on, I had to bring out some samples of different kinds of rocks and minerals, and then we kind of went off on a tangent where my son was weighing things, seeing if they were magnetic, just having all kinds of fun with these rocks and looking at them under a magnifying glass and just really kind of getting to know them and exploring them. Okay, so this has been simmered now for about 20 minutes, and we have reduced some of that wine, and now we're gonna add our milk. So we're gonna be using this dairy-free milk alternative here. It's some soy milk, and we need 4 cups of that. Okay, sounds weird, but I promise it's really good. Okay, so now we're gonna let this simmer for about another 20 minutes. So my son is very enthralled with his rocks in there, so I'm gonna go see if there's some more books on rocks we can read while he's examining his rocks and seeing what's magnetic and the shapes and the colors, and it's pretty fun. Okay, let's go do this. And back to school, my son watched a short video on plate tectonics just to kind of reinforce that, because I don't feel like he quite grasped it when we were reading it together in the book, and then he narrated it all back to me. He definitely got it. So then we moved on. Okay, so this is simmering up here very, very nicely. It's been for about another 20 minutes or so, and now I'm gonna add in the tomatoes. So I have got 2 cans of these diced tomatoes, which I'm going to add in, as well as these cherry tomatoes from the fridge that were a little wrinkly and like nobody was gonna just eat them plain, but they're still perfectly good for cooking. So that's what I'm putting in, 2 cans of those and the cherry tomatoes. Okay, so that is the final ingredient, and now we just let this simmer for the afternoon. You only really need to simmer it for probably about 2 hours, but I mean, hey, the longer the better for something like this. So that's what's happening here. Okay, we just finished up lunch. The pot is simmering over there on the stove. I did move it to a different burner that wasn't as hot so that it can do more of a simmer and not so much of a boil. I got the kids some lunch. They just had some leftover fish from yesterday along with some fruit and potato chips. And then I made myself a little chicken burrito bowl. Okay, and what's happening now is I'm gonna go do a little school with my daughter and repair a couple of stuffed animals and then work on some video editing. So I will check back with you guys probably in a few hours as I just kind of pitter around here in the afternoon. So my daughter and I sat down to school. She didn't really have a whole lot to do today, just a few books with a few little things to read and go through. So we went through those, starting with poetry, then moving on to a little geography, and wrapping it up with a little Winnie the Pooh. All right, this sauce was definitely thickening up nicely. I'm super happy with it. I'm really excited to try it, but I'm just gonna let it keep simmering here for a little bit longer, and I'm gonna go work on fixing some stuffed animals. So one of these stuffed animals, the teddy bear, just had some normal wear and tear, literally a tear. So it was a very quick fix. This snake, however, was attacked by our dog, so it needed some new stuffing and then quite a bit of fun sewing up because it had been torn to shreds. I normally would not care so much about fixing stuffed animals. I'm always looking for an excuse to get rid of them, but these two are very special to my son, so I wanted to make sure that he got them back intact. Once he came in and saw it complete, he was so happy. Okay, I think the sauce is done. It's looking really awesome. It's very thick. It's gonna be amazing tonight. So I've turned the heat off and I'm just gonna leave it here on the stove until we're ready for dinner. It's about 3 o'clock right now. I have piles of laundry back there because I can't wash my clothes because my pipes are frozen. But anyways, I just checked in with my husband because he had to go off to work today. He had to drive pretty far. My kids are all here playing with toys on the floor. It's a little loud. Yeah, and the storm is supposed to start, like the second storm of snow. It's supposed to start basically any time now, but I think probably later this evening. Okay, so I'm gonna take the next couple hours, work on editing some of this footage here from today, and I'll check back with you guys around dinner. We ate dinner about 5 o'clock after my husband got home. I'm telling you guys, this hit the spot. It was the perfect meal for this cold and dreary winter day. So I cooked spaghetti noodles to go with this, and then later discovered that I had actual fettuccine noodles in my pantry. Apparently that is the appropriate noodle for a Bolognese. Who knew? But it was too late by the time I made that discovery. After we had all had our fill of spaghetti and Bolognese, I grabbed all the leftover spaghetti noodles, put them all into the Bolognese pot, and mixed it all together. That way I could just put this entire pot into the refrigerator and save it to eat for tomorrow. Okay, so we just wrapped up dinner. Dinner was awesome. Totally hit the spot to make that Bolognese here today with this like very cold and what has turned out to be a very gray day. The sun was shining this morning, but as this storm is blowing through, it's gotten very gray. Now, storm update. Most of the storm has passed already above us, so we're not going to get it too bad, I don't think. But it does look like there's a spot that is going to get us at some point in the middle of the night. How much snow that will actually bring, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. But the good news is it's supposed to start warming up from here on out. Now, it's not going to get above freezing until I think like Saturday. So I don't know if any of this is going to melt before then, but we'll see. So for the rest of the day, I'm just going to do some super boring stuff like put away laundry that has been sitting there for a few days. And I don't know, clean up the house, put the dishes away. So, all right, gonna call it a close. You guys have a great rest of your day and I will see you in my next upload.